as somebody out here fabricating shit. So let's get into Miss Venus, who clearly fabricated and tried to play victim in a situation, but didn't want to really tell us the tea in regards of her little woe is me isms that happened, where she said that she was beat up and harassed and robbed by the Mexican police. So now she's clarifying what she has said. So after making claims that she was brutally attacked by police in Mexico, Canada's Drag Race Season 4 winner Venus tells Entertainment Weekly that the statements I previously made in the screenshots shared are not accurate and were made in a state of extreme fear as I was not in the right frame of mind. Now, earlier this week on Tuesday, April 22nd, Venus set the record straight on social media post explaining that she wasn't actually in any altercation with local law enforcement in Puerto Vallarta. 2 days later, on Thursday, April 24th, Venus shared an actual video apologizing about the misunderstanding. Now, I do have the video, so let's take a gander over to the Instagram, and we're going to play this clip. First of all, Venus looked good in boy drag. She's cutie. But sis, you need to get your drinking under control because you blacked out, you was drinking, you don't remember what happened, and when you blacking out, you don't know what you be doing out here in these streets. So people got to fill in the gap. And you went on social media, try to play the victim, and when the true tea comes out, now you out here looking like Boo Boo the Fool. So let's play what she had to say, and we'll come back and we'll talk. Please hold.
Hi everyone, I owe you an apology. This apology goes directly to the community here in Puerto Vallarta, to anyone in Mexico, my Mexican followers, to the officers that I had dealt with, and beyond that. I really fucked up. I made some terrible accusations and assumptions about what had happened the other night. Just because I blacked out, and that was something that I had done, does not excuse my behavior in perpetuating these stereotypes that this is an unsafe place and that, creating the narrative without actually knowing what had happened. That was foolish and extremely ignorant of me. And I am deeply sorry for that and for any harm that I have caused, because I am aware of that harm. I have been called out and called in and have been able to have conversations with other Mexican drag queens, local people here, and I'm truly sorry. I am listening, I'm learning, I'm the type of person that I learn from my mistakes, and I can guarantee you that. As an Indigenous person myself, this is something that I should have known better. I should have known the harm that these assumptions have on other Indigenous people in the world, because I know what it has on my own community. Mexico and Puerto Vallarta is an extremely beautiful place. If you have not been here, you can ask anyone who has, and they will say the same. The people here are so kind and vibrant and, passionate, and I am extremely privileged to be able to get to, experience this place and their culture. So I am very sorry for my actions, for jumping to conclusions, for being a fucking idiot. Of course, you do not have to accept my apology, but this is coming from a very raw and real place, and I can only promise to do better moving forward. And I thank you for listening. I'm sending you all my love.
Okay, well, I pretty much got the gist. And like she said, lo siento mucho. She fucked up. I fucked up. I made a mistake. You know that Madonna song. It's like, yeah, you fucked up, honey. So Venus was in Mexico. She got lit. She was probably performing, drinking a lot. And when you drink so much and you weigh like 12 pounds soaking wet, so it probably don't take much for you to get drunk. And especially when you're Indigenous, alcohol and Indigenous people don't really mix. I know, because I am of the Indigenous community too, so I know what liquor does. But then again, for me, it takes a lot for me to get shit faced in the blackout. So, I like the fact that he finally came out and owned up to his mess, because probably what happened was you got on social media, you posted all those pictures, you painted this narrative, and those Mexican queens that was out there that probably seen you being the mess that you was like, sis, what you posted, what you see is not necessarily the truth. In the words of Tatiana, it was like, that ain't what happened. And now we're gonna fill in the blanks because clearly you blacked out. But if you blacked out, what you should have did was check in with the people that were around you at that time to verify, like, okay, what happened? Like, I don't remember what happened. I got all these bruises on me. They saying I got robbed. I mean, I wound up getting robbed. The police is doing all this other stuff. You probably came to and realized the reason why you was getting kicked because you was probably doing ish before you came to. Because trust and believe, I've been there where I blacked out and I don't remember what happened. And I've done some things where I've been kicked out of spots. Like, I've been kicked out of clubs. I've been, on those other stuff because I was a hot, drunken mess. And when you don't have the people around you that genuinely care about you, who's going to be there to fill in the blanks? So I've been there before with the whole blackout thing. So I totally understand that. And I think that for the most part, people will forgive you. But hopefully this is a learning lesson that you have to learn that, yeah, you can't just be going around being a hot mess, being a nuisance. And now you put a target on Mexico's back. Bad enough, we already got an asshole for a goddamn president who's already put a target on the back of the Mexican people and Latinos in general. And here you go with this fake narrative that you made up because you didn't want to come out looking a certain way. But now you got egg on your face because you had to come and reveal the truth to you that had happened. So over on her Instagram, I was like, let's read some of the comments. So one person said, I say this with lots of love and no judgment, but it may be time to get sober. Regardless, stay safe. Yeah, because you don't want to end up in a situation like our girl, the Vivian. Another person said, it's strange how an apology meant to address harm towards Mexican people is being overwhelmingly validated by people who weren't the target of that harm. When someone apologizes for perpetuating stereotypes, it's important that the people affected are centered in the response, not sidelined by others rushing to offer praise for accountability that wasn't theirs to accept. They have a point. Another person said, well, I think it's Jaylene Time says accountability is a brave act of truth and vulnerability. I'm so glad you are safe. I love you and I'm proud to call you family. Well, it's not about her being safe. It's the fact that you went up and made up a whole narrative because you were drinking. So it wasn't necessarily you blaming the police for doing something. What did you do to get to that point? You don't even remember because you were drunk. So there was active reason as to probably why the Mexican police reacted the way they reacted. But because you are who you are, and you already know how this fandom is, especially when you look a certain way and you a queen, they'll offer you grace based off of a certain type of queen versus if this was a black queen, we would not be getting this type of energy. And I hate having to make this a racial issue, but you want to know something? When you bring in the whole thing about you being indigenous, and you should know better because this is an indigenous community that your lies have affected, race needs to come into the conversation. So another person went and said, "Oh, not the update I expected at all. Were all those stories she uploaded not true? She did not get assaulted and stolen from?" That is a good question because I don't feel like in the post you actually acknowledged or even told us what happened. So what part of the story was true? But look, I done found her comment in the Instagram where she responded. She said, the bruises are very much real, as I was informed much later on the following day that I had been involved in a physical altercation not involving the police. This behavior is completely out of character for me, and I have never been in a physical fight before in my life. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a non-violent person. I've dealt with those matters privately and have given my apologies to the parties involved. I'm no boy who cried wolf. Regrettably, I had blacked out for hours when all of that took place until coming to in police custody, which is literally what I said. I said, when you came, and I didn't even have to read her comment to even come to that conclusion. I said, you came to because I've been there. I've been in a situation where I've blacked out drunk. And when I've come to in situations, then you try to fill in the blanks, but you can't fill in the blanks. So now you say, oh, the police beat me up. No, it got to a point where the police probably had to be called. They put you in their custody and waited for your behind to sober up. That's what happened. But all the other stuff that happened, I'm sure somebody filled you in. You probably was physically assaulting someone while under the influence, Oh, because you blacked out? Because once you black out, it's literally like you just a whole nother person. I told you, I've been there. I know. So yeah, she said that she gave a person parties involved. I'm no boy who cried wolf. Regrettably, I had blacked out for hours when all that took place. I spoke prematurely and thought things happened to me at the hands of police, as waking up in custody was the first thing I remembered after blacking out at a nightclub. I posted this video as it is necessary that I publicly apologize to the community here in Puerto Vallarta and to the officers in which I wrongly accused of causing me harm. This was a foolish mistake erected out of a genuine fear, but that does not excuse me from speaking without knowing all the facts, and for that I am deeply sorry. So I'm glad you spoke out. Child, but here's the gag. Somebody said, let's be real. If this ain't your first blackout, then this isn't your first mess either. Trust, a lot of us have been there. So take this moment, learn from it, and seriously get your relationship with alcohol together. Because, mama, being the life of the party doesn't mean you got to lose your life at a party. Kudos for taking accountability. So we'll pretty much just leave it there in regards to that. But I definitely want to hear from you all. What do you guys think of this story regarding Venus? I'm admitting that, and I'm glad I did not cut up that previous Venus story and post it up on all my socials. There was a reason why the universe was like, yeah, don't do that clip. Post the other stuff. That's why I'm glad I listened to my spirit, because the spirit never steers me wrong. And this is why. So now I'm going to cut this one up and post it on all the other socials, because we got an ending to the story. We got the true story. We ain't get all the story, but we got what we got, and we could just fill in the blanks and figure out, okay, so what happened in between the other stuff. She said she apologized to the people that were involved for real in the situation, and if they take her apology, then that's up to them. But yeah, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this story? This is why I always say, before y'all get up on these socials, before y'all start posting on your little videos and your pictures and your woe is me-isms and all that other stuff, make sure you check and see and figure out all your other stuff before you start getting on social media and using your platform as a winner of a Canadian drag show, Canada's Drag Race, and looking for sympathy and empathy from people when you don't even have all the facts your damn self. Because now you people look, now they're gonna be looking at you with a side eye. And yeah, this is an apology situation, but now it's like I'm gonna be side eyeing you whenever little incidences happen. It's like, okay, sis, now what's the tea? What really happened? And now you got that reputation stuck upon you. So while we done forgave you this time, now everybody's gonna be kind of looking at you with a little skepticism. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.